Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. So glory Srila Prabhupada. We welcome you all to His Holiness Candramauli Maharaj's daily call. I hope you all are well. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. So glory Srila Prabhupada. So Maharaj, I think we're discussing first canto, 10th chapter, a departure of Lord Krishna from Dwarka.
Correct.
Yes, I'll share the screen, Maharaj. Thank you.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Subhadra Draupadi Kunti Virat Putanayan Tapa Andari Dhirarastvasya Yutsur Gautamam Yamo Vikradaras Chadaumyascha Sriyomatya Sutadayaha Naserire Vimukyanto Viraham Sarga Danvataha Danvanaha. Translation: at that time, Subhadra, Draupadi, Kunti, Uttara, Andari, Dhritarashtra, Vyutsa, Upacharya, Nakula, Sahadev, Bhimasena, Domya, Satyavati, all nearly fainted because it was impossible then for them to bear separation from Lord Krishna. Purport: Lord Sri Krishna is so attractive for the living beings, especially for the devotees, that it's impossible for them to tolerate separation. The conditioned soul under the spell of illusionary energy forgets the Lord. Otherwise, he cannot. The feeling of such separation cannot be described, but it can simply be imagined by devotees only. After his separation from Vrindavan and the innocent rural cowherd boys, girls, ladies, and others, they all felt shock throughout their lives. And the separation of Radharani, the most beloved cowherd girl, was beyond expression. Once they met at Kurukshetra during a solar eclipse, and the feeling which was expressed by them was heart-rending. There is, of course, a difference in the quality of transcendental devotees of the Lord, but none of them who have ever contacted the Lord by direct communion or otherwise can leave him for a moment. This is the attitude of the pure devotee. Umagyan timidandasya kinarjana salakaya chaksu unnalitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve namaha Shri Chaitanya manobhistam stapitam yena bhutale Swayam rupa kadammayam dadati swam kadati. Vandeham Shiguro Shiyuta Padakamalam Shigurun Vaishnavamscha Sirupam Sagujatam Sahaganat Raganatam Vitam Tam Sujivam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamscha. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dinabandhu Jagat Pate, Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute, Tapta Kanchana Gaudangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Rishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vanchakalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhuve Bacha Itanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Va Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasnaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaudavani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya De Sutari Ne Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There's a term in Vedic culture called Purvaras. Purvaras means loving Krishna before meeting Krishna. Loving Krishna before meeting Krishna. Now, it is a term that describes those who are in the material world, who are hearing about Krishna, and that is their connection with Krishna. Although the living entity was with Krishna in the spiritual world and has fallen from that situation, still, the living entity cannot at all recall their relationship with Krishna in the spiritual world that is eternal. And so, in order for that relationship to be revived, there is the process of hearing about Krishna, glorifying Krishna, and worshiping Krishna, remembering Krishna in different ways, and carrying out activities for the pleasure of Krishna. In that process, one starts to develop one's natural love for Krishna through this process. And then, although it's loving Krishna before meeting Krishna, it is meeting him through his transcendental sound vibration and through the process of pure devotional service, which is meant to awaken one's love for Krishna. Now, there are those, as is mentioned here, who are personal associates of the Lord when he came to the material world. Some of them are intimately connected with Krishna, such as Subhadra, which was his sister, Kunti, his aunt, Bhima, well, not as much, but a fellow warrior, Dhritarashtra, who met Krishna many times. He was a family member also. And there's others who had more of a distant relationship with Krishna, such as Kripacharya, one of the warriors on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Nukula Sahadev, Bhimasena, and others. But all of them now are going through this pain of separation from Krishna. Krishna has finished his duty in the area of Hastinapur. Now he's leaving Hastinapur and he's going to Dwarka. And so that even thinking about Krishna leaving causes one to feel the mood of separation, even though he still may be personally present. So here we hear how deep that relationship with Krishna is, that the feelings of separation from Krishna cannot be described. We also experience in our own life in this material world how we have a loving relationship with someone, and somehow maybe there is some extended period of separation, and then there is this longing again to be back with the beloved person. And then, of course, when someone dies, leaves the world, then we feel that the pain of separation becomes even much more greater, knowing we will not be with that person again, at least in this life. And so we get a little idea of the pain of separation. But there is a certain element in the material, spiritual element of separation from Krishna that is not there in the material. Although there is a similar understanding of the mood, that extra element is that in due course of time, the relationship with that person who has departed seems to dissipate or decrease. And therefore, after some time, the feelings of separation or loss become less and less. And one starts to maybe move on in their life in a more ordinary way or normal way. Or they somehow take up other relationships to fulfill that lost relationship. But in the spiritual, in relationship to Krishna, the feelings of separation create such a longing in the heart of the devotee that the love that the devotee feels for Krishna becomes greater and greater, and the pain of separation also increases simultaneously. Whereas one only wants to be with Krishna again and sees everything as simply a void. We're describing these loving relationships because they're there for each and every person engaged in devotional service. We have the example of Raghunath Das Goswami, who, feeling separation from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, exhibits a mood of separation that even Govardhan and Jamuna, all of the spiritual pastime places of Krishna's Leelas, which are pure spiritual energy, really cause that person greater pain. By seeing them, the memory of Krishna even becomes greater, and the longing becomes more intense. When a pure devotee goes through that and reaches this third stage of cannot live without Krishna anymore, then they leave their body and go back home, back to Godhead, by the right arrangement of Krishna. So devotional service is meant to help us become attracted and then ultimately attached to Krishna as the object of our only affection in this world. So hearing about, chanting about, worshiping, and remembering Krishna in different ways, serving Krishna and serving those devotees who are fixed in serving Krishna, bring about that attraction to Krishna more and more. And then when that becomes purified to a certain degree, then a devotee is free from all. So this attachment to Krishna means detachment to the material world. There are many books that people write about how to distance themselves from things in this material world that they don't want or don't like. Or there's books that teach people how to get what they want and to become more expert in doing it. But in Krishna consciousness, we're going the other way. We're losing any desire to increase the quality or the quantity of our material life and wanting simply to engage more in the loving service of the Lord. And therefore, remembering Krishna, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Mam Yaji Mam Namaskuri. Always remember me, become my devotee, that means serve me, worship me in different ways, and offer your respects, homage to me. In other words, bow down to me, comprises the essence of all activities in devotional service. And then Krishna follows the next verse. He says, if you have so many ideas on how you're going to become Krishna conscious, or how you're going to become happy in this world, then give them up, because they will never give you any satisfaction or any success. He says, just surrender to me. So surrendering to me means to devote oneself fully to the instructions that Krishna gives, either directly in the Bhagavad Gita and in other places throughout the scriptures, or from his pure devotee, spiritual master, who represents Krishna's words in the life of the devotee. And then one meditates and focuses on those things and executes their devotional service centered around that. Then this material world, with all its both attractive features and horrible features, seem to take a background and gradually dissipate into from the life of a devotee, where it's practically not even existing anymore. For devotional service and remembering Krishna, serving Krishna, becomes the only focus of a devotee, and they simply live for that. These persons that we hear here, there's a nice variety. Domya, he was a warrior. Yuyutsu, he was also a warrior. Satyavati, I'm not sure who that is. There are many still on that name. Gandhari is the wife of Dhritarashtra. Uttara was the mother of King Parikshit, and also had personal association with Krishna, many of them, practically all of them. So because of their love for Krishna, separation was impossible. So here we're hearing about one of the qualities. So there are, in the process of devotional service, there is loving Krishna by meeting Krishna, and loving Krishna in the mood of separation from Krishna, or anticipating meeting Krishna, which is another feature of separation, which creates a longing within the heart for the devotee, and which increases their attraction to Krishna. The more we long for Krishna, the more we want Krishna, the more we pray for Krishna to, remove all of the obstacles that are blocking our relationship with Krishna. Like Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, he's famous for one statement that he made in public, in front of the entire assembly of the governing body commission, along with hundreds and hundreds of other devotees who were personally present in a class in Mayapur, when he said we should make this prayer as our main prayer. And then he recited the prayer. The prayer is, my dear Lord, whatever there is that is blocking my relationship with you, whatever impediments that are there, please remove them. And whatever I need to take on in my life and devotional service, please bring it on. Now that's a very sweeping statement which covers everything. Whatever I don't need, please remove, whether it's subtle or gross. And whatever I need, bring it on, subtle or gross. Now, devotees might think, wow, that's a very difficult prayer to make. I might lose my money. I might lose my relationships in this world. And I might lose my job. I don't know if I can do that. But if you trust Krishna as being the ever well-wisher of every living entity, knowing what's best for every living entity, because Krishna wants us to come back to him more than we want to go back to him. Whatever qualities we have, Krishna has that same quality in full. So even the perfection of our love for Krishna is just a simple drop in the ocean compared to Krishna's love for his.
Hare Krishna. Can anyone hear Maharaj? Because I cannot hear him. It's paused for me.
No, I don't hear either.
Okay, I think Maharaj is back. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
If we can pray, my dear Lord, I only want you and nothing else in this world, then Krishna will accelerate his process of bringing us back home, back to Godhead. And we can even meet Krishna in this life, even while we're still in this temporary material world, temporary material body. Therefore, we have a direct loving relationship with Krishna that can never, just like here, it just says here, the feelings of separation cannot be described, but it can only be simply imagined by the devotees. The conditioned soul, under the spell of illusionary energy, forgets the Lord, otherwise cannot. So it's the spell of illusionary energy that causes forgetfulness of our relationship with the Lord. And that becomes the focus of people when they live in this illusion that there is success and happiness in this world, which there is not. There, as Krishna says, dukkhalayam asashratam. Even if you're in a nice material situation and things are going, we might say, quote unquote, nicely, all of that is temporary. And all of that also has its default ingredient. And in other words, at any second, anything could change. And even in a so-called ideal situation, there's always things that are not right. But time moves things along, and then whatever we center our life around will be, again, just a memory or something that is completely gone. Yeah, something that's gone, a memory. So never consider yourself, never think, well, this feelings of separation can only be developed by those who are in a very difficult material situation, because of course difficult material situations are impetuses for our loving relationship with Krishna, but we are not simply relegated to that, because just living in the material world means to be in a difficult situation. Okay, I'll stop here. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. And I really like the point when you said that Purvaraj, which is a separation before meeting Krishna. And Maharaj also said that Krishna is wanting us more than we are wanting for Krishna. So that's so beautiful, and assurance that he is looking out for you, for us all. So thank you so much, Maharaj. When Maharaj is coming back, it'll be nice for you all to think about the question, the comment, or realizations. Yeah, raise your hands, please, if you have any questions. And please, your camera is on as well, so we can take your darshan. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai, I can see Raj Prabhu. Who else? Jai, Scarlet Mataji. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Who else can keep their cameras on? Brave enough. Jai, Revati Mataji is on. Jai, Namrita. Hari. Very nice. Very nice to see you all. So wasn't that beautiful and so nectarian to hear about the separation? We are all longing for that separation, and Maharaj is so nicely, beautifully put together. How Dwarkavasis were feeling, Hastinapurvasis were feeling. So yes, please raise your hands if you have any questions. Thank you, Maharaj. And so while we're waiting for the question, I would like to ask a question, Maharaj, about the Purvaras you mentioned, that is a separation before even meeting Krishna. So
No, it's not separation before, it's loving Krishna before meeting Krishna.
loving Krishna. Okay, understand. So is it developed through hearing, basically? Is this what you okay.
The gopis in Vrindavan, the younger gopis, never saw Krishna until Krishna lifted Govardhan hill. But they had heard so much about Krishna. And they were eager to meet Krishna. So they had already developed their love for Krishna because they had heard so much about Krishna. It's only when Krishna lifted Govardhan hill that they actually had the chance to meet Krishna. So that's also called Purva Ras, loving Krishna before meeting Krishna. And that's the general condition of the devotees who are practicing devotional service.
So basically, this is the very initial stage where you start to know Krishna. Yes, Kalik Mataji, please go ahead. I think you have a question.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisance. All praise to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you, Guru Maharaj, and all glories to our assembled devotees. I have heard something that it makes me wonder that if someone do the devotional service, do everything, but doesn't feel anything, doesn't think anything, just doing it without having the thought of, oh, wow, this is feel good or anything, doing it just automatically without having any thought around it. What is that called? Is it called doing service with love, or doing service because you have heard, doing service because you have done it? It's so long, so it has begun to be habit, nothing else.
It's simply, well, that's what they call neophyte stage. But it's also, if one is committing offenses, then one will not be able to taste the happiness in Krishna consciousness, and one has to avoid the offenses. One is seeing the activities of devotional service as simply ordinary activities, not transcendental activities. These are different reasons why one is not tasting devotional service. Mostly it's because committing offenses. Because in order for one to come to Krishna consciousness, there is a happiness that attracts them. And that comes initially at the beginning, which brings about a desire to perform devotional service. So they have that experience of some happiness. But if they continue, they go in and then they start committing offenses. Usually offenses is what blocks our relationship with Krishna. Or the block, it doesn't allow for that taste to come through. So we have to be very careful not to commit offenses. Then therefore we chant in our temples every day the 10 offenses against the holy name. We have to know those 10 offenses and be able to understand what each one means, and then very carefully try to overcome or try to avoid committing those offenses. because offenses, aparad, the word is aparad, the word radha is there, R-A-D-H-A, which is Radharani, and then A-P is put in front of it. That means against Radharani. Or, as we say, it means against the principles of pure devotional service. So one should be very carefully to avoid offenses. And some offenses are more serious than others, such as, criticizing or vilifying or blaspheming devotees. That will block our path in a very big way. And when chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, again, the 10 offenses should be recited daily so you know them and can avoid them. Now, what they mean, because just by reciting them doesn't mean you know what they mean or how to avoid them. You have to understand what they mean and how to avoid them. So therefore, that requires you reading Prabhupada's books, hearing his lectures, going to the classes, getting the understanding, asking questions based on these 10 offenses. The 11th offense is inattentive chanting. So, the process has what is called vidhis and nishedas. Vidhis means things to do, and nishedas means things to avoid. So if you know what to do, but you don't know what to avoid, it's like taking a bath and then going and throwing dirt off of yourself right after you finish your bath. Called hasti snan. An elephant will go nicely and take a nice bath, and as soon as the elephant's done, he'll go back onto the land and throw dirt upon himself. What's the use of the bath? So we have to be very careful in the execution of our devotional service not to commit offenses.
You named something about apparatus that when you do offense against the Vaishnavas. Did I understand it right? When you say something against the Vaishnava, it's apparatus. Did I understand it right?
There are many kinds of offenses, and that's one type. Criticizing devotees, blaspheming devotees, finding fault unnecessarily with devotees. These are all offenses to Vaishnavas.
May I ask if some Vaishnava person in Vaishnava do something that is really, really, really bad and wrong, if you say, stop it, don't do it, is it apparatus? Is it saying something, doing something bad to Vaishnavas?
Well, Vaishnavas don't usually do something very bad and wrong.
I didn't hear, I'm sorry. Could you please?
That's a hypothetical situation, right? Vaishnavas don't really do something horrible. Unless they're not a Vaishnava. If they're not a Vaishnava, but they pretend to be a Vaishnava, that's something else. Vaishnava means one who worships Vishnu or Krishna.
Okay.
And to judge, sometimes we don't really know if that's right or wrong. Sometimes if something is apparently a discrepancy, but it's not, then we we may find ourselves committing offenses. No, it's not so easy. Therefore, you have to know the philosophy. You have to serve the Vaishnavas. You have to associate with the Vaishnavas. You don't serve and associate with the Vaishnavas, you'll never make any progress in this process. It's not possible to make progress without association with devotees. Not possible. 100%. That's why Prabhupada said there are three ways. There are three things that are important in devotional service. He said association, association, association. He wanted to make a point. Sadhu Sangha, Sarvasastri Hoy, Lavamatta Sadhu Sange, Sarvasiddhi Hoy. We should seek out the association with devotees and try to serve them. That's what it means to become a devotee. And then we will learn how to associate and how to develop relationships with the devotees that are free from criticizing and blaspheming. In other words, we'll learn the activities of devotional service in association with devotees, and that brings happiness in Krishna consciousness. We are not cloistered monks. We are yeah. So when you read our books, you see it's all centered around association. Everything. And that way we'll be in a better position to understand how to deal with situations that come like that.
Thank you. Thanks, Maharaj. Scarlet Mataji, I hope it answers your question. We have next comment from Narsing Leela Mataji, Maharaj. She's saying, Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All Guru Srila Prabhupada. I just wanted to thank you. It made me think of how Narad Muni took departure of his mother as an opportunity to spiritually advance. And Vidura, after offended, did the same thing. It's just beautiful how devotees always take everything as the mercy of the Lord and further advances. Thank you for reminding us the same principle over and over again. Jai. Thank you. Thanks, Narsingh Mataji. That was a beautiful comment. Next, Namrata Mataji, did you have a question?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to your lotus feet. All glories to the Vrindavan Dham. And all glories to the present devotees. I don't know. I'm still in the mood of suppression from the Vrindavan Dham, from Govardhanika village. But I just lower my hand because there were a lot of things coming to my mind, and I thought I'm just in the reflecting mode at present. So I thought maybe I'll reflect on what has been said, then some discussions, some senior advices, and a lot more. So a lot of things are coming to my mind. Just on Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj's prayers, you said, it just made me thought that when we pray in material world, when we are dealing with somebody, we have odds and evens. And sometimes when odds happen, we tend to pray. So should we actually pray, or we should leave it on Krishna?
The whole process of bhakti centers around prayer. Everything we do is prayer. And praying in order to execute our devotional service is also a recommended prayer.
So being specific, Guru Maharaj, I mean, I'm talking about the material odds. Definitely we should pray for spiritual advancement, but the material odds, should we pray to Krishna or we should surrender to her? Because we should trust Krishna that whatever, if it's odd, if it's even, it's coming for our betterment, for our spiritual progress.
You pray to understand better what is happening and how you should accept it or not accept it, act on it or not act on it. Yeah, prayer opens up a communication where you get the knowledge, you get the intelligence to understand how you should act in different situations. Don't think prayer just means sitting down in the morning with your hands in a folded position and then doing various types of sadhana. That's one part of prayer, but devotee is praying every minute. Please don't let me fall into Maya. Prabhupada gave us that example in his own life. He was sitting in a hotel room in somewhere, I think it was in Los Angeles. And he was praying, and the devotees were there. And Prabhupada said, they asked that I'm praying simply not to pray to Krishna and I don't fall into Maya. You have to understand, you're always in Maya. So you need to pray to get out of it. That's our situation. Most of the time we're in Maya. Once in a while we get lucky and get a little bit of Krishna consciousness in there. But most of the time we're in Maya. When one devotee said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I'm in Maya. Prabhupada said, you're always in Maya. That's our situation. We're thinking, well, because nothing's going wrong at the present moment, I'm fine, I'm Krishna conscious. That's just an illusion. You're not remembering Krishna, you're not serving Krishna, you're in Maya. Maya means everything other than Krishna. What appears to be something outside of Krishna. That's Maya.
So Guru Maharaj, when you say that we are always in Maya and we really need to have intensity to connect with God, and intensity comes, especially in material world, it comes with odd situations. So that is why I was asking, should we really pray or let it just, or we should just accept?
Well, you pretty much answered the question. These odd situations actually bring you closer to Krishna. Or they're an opportunity to go closer to Krishna. If you take the chance, take it. That's why Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, 4 types of people come to me. One of them is one who's distressed.
Right.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thanks, Namrita Mataji. Scarlett Mataji, do you have another question?
Yes, please. When you say Maya is everywhere. Maya is Maya. Just to try to do your best to avoid Maya by doing service and so on. What I mean, my first question was, there is a person who is really doing its best to do service, to chant, to do everything according all the principle there is. But still, there are some very bad disturbance, which I'm not going to name what, but it could be abusing one's position to do whatever they want, because they call themselves, I'm a Vaishnavist, you can't say anything about it. Just to accept it, just hold your mouth and do your service. Don't say anything, don't complain, nothing. And this person is in temple doing their its best. So how do one look at it like it's Maya? Is it means that Maya even interferes in the temple situation?
Are you the only one that's recognizing it?
No, there are so many, but no one talk about it. I'm so sorry to say that. There are so many, but no one dare to talk about it.
No, somebody should do something.
I'm so sorry.
That's why we have a system of management. You have your temple authorities, and above them you have your GBC, or you even have your yatra leaders. So there's a system of checks and balances. So we might call it a system of what's that word? It's a technical term. Redression, to redress situations. Yeah. So we have that also in ISKCON. We have ISKCON. What is it called? Teacher. ISKCON. Which deals with situations like that. So bring it up to that agency as part of the GBC, ISKCON something or other. So rather that you can't deal with the person directly. So if there's obviously some, gross deviations and causing problems with devotees, then ISKCON, I forgot what it's called. Not resolution conflict, there's another one that's been recently established within the last 5 or 6 years. Anyway, just do a little investigation. You have a GBC. GBC means governing body commissions in charge of that area where you're in. So you can write to your GBC. If you're just complaining, oh, this is bad, and nobody's doing anything about it, then, go to the next level.
Please forgive me. What I'm just asking, if Maya's doing the job, I'm not complaining because it is what it is. I don't want to go far more about this. But what I mean is it the Maya which interfering and doing something even in the temple? That is what my question is. The other one, it is what it is.
Maya is everywhere. There's a verse. Krishna's in one place and Maya is everywhere else. So, or to put it in a very clear way, if you look forward, you see Krishna. If you look a little bit to the right, there's Maya. A little bit to the left, there's Maya. Look a little down, there's Maya. Look a little up, there's Maya. Yeah, whatever direction you're looking in, except straight forward, there's Maya. She's everywhere because she controls the material world. She is in charge of the operations of the material world. Her job is to put the conditioned souls into illusion. She does a very good job. So, Maya simply means what's not. That's all. What is not. It's not what it presents itself to be. It's different. It's like a glove with no hand in it. You see a glove, you think, oh, there's a hand in there somewhere. No, there's no hand. The glove represents the form of a hand, but in Maya, the forms are there, but there's no substance. You want to be happy in the material world, she'll give you the forms to attract you to become happy, but the happiness is not there. That's Maya. Maya, what is not. And Maya also means mercy.
Can I ask, Maya, isn't it, in my reading or understanding, maybe I have misunderstood, Maya is the girl which told Kamsa, you fool, you think you're, the one who's going to kill you is not here, is born already and is not here. Is it the same or have I misunderstood?
You're looking at it in a very limited way.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are many personalities who are worshipped as an expansion of the material energy. And Maya takes different forms, and these are female personalities. Durga, Bhadrakali, Mahakali, Chandi, Vijaya, Ambika, so many names. These are different manifestations of Maya's personality as she appears in a certain part of the world to perform an activity. She has a form. She's also the wife of Lord Shiva. As Krishna has
Isn't
many.
Isn't it the sister of Vishnu? Parvati is sister of Vishnu, right?
No, no,
Okay.
no. That's Subhadra. Subhadra is the sister of Krishna. Read the books, you'll be all right. The books have the explanations along with the text, so you can get an understanding.
Thank you. Thanks.
If you try to intellectualize and rationalize what is happening in Krishna consciousness, you'll stay you'll always be confused. You have to hear from and understand things according to Shastra and Guru. And therefore, Prabhupada said, I wrote so many books for your understanding. Read the books. If you turn to the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the very introduction to the 10th canto, there's 2 pages that describe what is Maya. 2 full pages. And there are many other places in the scriptures also. Just go to the introduction of the 10th canto, and you'll find, I think, I'm not sure which page it is, but it's part of that introduction, which is quite long. The introduction is very long. But you'll find that section describing Maya, how she works, who she is.
Thank you. Thanks, Scarlett Mataji. Maharaj, I have a question. So I've been listening about a few classes from Radhesham Prabhu and Amrita Prabhu and about the offenses. So it's been said that there are 32 types of seva aprad and 10 types of, we all know that nama aprad are there. And we being human being, we make mistakes, and then Vaishnava aprad is also there. So we, like, I personally, I make so many mistakes. So I feel like many times in this verse, it talks about separation. So separation we will feel when there is love, when there is intense love, then only we will feel that separation from Krishna. So if we continue to make, and Lord Chaitanya also mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Vaishnava Prad is like a big mad elephant and it can destroy everything. So it feels that we're walking on a very fine thread and the journey is very, very, very long. So how do we feel that love, that one day we feel the separation because of that intense love from love with Krishna. So how can we do that, Maharaj?
Stop making offenses. You can stop making offenses if you learn what they are and avoid them. That's all. When you're driving along the road, you have to follow the traffic signals, the signs. If you don't, you have an accident or you get a ticket. So you're on the road of bhakti, there are rules and regulations, things to avoid, things to do. They're all in the scriptures. They're in the words of the spiritual masters, they're in the scriptures. They're not, the spiritual masters take so much effort, time, and energy to write books for the benefit of others. So we can understand what is this process. Take advantage of it.
Thank you. Thanks, Maharaj. So Shrimati Mataji saying, thank you for the nice class, Guru Maharaj. Any other questions, devotees? So it looks like there is, yes, go on, Maharaj, you were saying something.
Oh, the 1 hour is up. If you
Yes.
get to the 1 hour period, then just close it if there's no questions at that point.
Yes, we can close the call now, Maharaj. That's fine. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time and association, Maharaj. We know that you're very busy in India, but thank you so much for coming online.
Thank you. On my basis is to all the devotees. Panchakalpa to Vishja to Sindhu Bevajam Titanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
We should be here every day now for, well, I don't see any breaks coming up, but we'll be here every day.
Thank you. Thank you very, very, very much for today.
Thank you.
Please